Hi everyone, I'm K.A. Will. Nah, just kidding. I'm Gabby.
What? You're funny. Hey everyone, I'm K.A. Will.
Welcome to K&G Culture, and the series we're doing is Marriage Journey. The reason why we started this channel was to share our experience and be transparent, and we just think it's very important that we create our own culture, just sharing with you guys how we do it. And then hopefully this sparks conversation in your marriage on how you want to create your own value system and culture. So today is part 2 of our conversation on how finances affect marriage. And so we're going to share how we viewed money before, how we view it now, how we interact with each other when it comes to money. And I laugh because in the beginning, guys, it was rough. Because we are 2 separate, hard-headed, stubborn individuals who have, we both believe in what we believe, and we believe in it wholeheartedly, and it must be the right way. So, and Kareem is more of a saver, and I'm more of a spender, which is interesting because now it's like kind of flipping. But he's more as a saver, and I just didn't understand why I couldn't do things that I wanted to do. So, how do you think you handled the fact that we would have arguments, or we would just get quiet and couldn't even finish budget meeting, have to wait another 6 months? Like, what was your experience?
Yeah, so that is funny because I don't see it flipping at all. But yes, it was a challenge for us at first because one of the things a budget does is now you have an accountability partner. So I'm holding Gabby accountable, she's holding me accountable. Mm-hmm. But, sometimes when you're newlyweds or when you're not used to joining your money, putting your money together into one pot, it could seem as if, this person's trying to stop me from having fun. They're trying to stop me from using my hard-earned money, this, that, the other.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. So, but the thing is, it's not that. They just want what is best for both of you. And like Gabby said, you have to remember, in any relationship, at 95% of the time, you have one person who's more of a saver and one person who's more of a spender. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep that in mind to create that balance of your relationship when it comes to difference in opinions with the finances. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're going to talk more today about how these finances can affect the relationship in your marriage. Mm-hmm. So Gabby already brought up, how one person could be a saver and one could be a spender. And at first, it's going to seem like you're clashing, because I think that's what you're talking about when you mentioned.
We definitely were.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. So you're going to feel it. It's going to feel like, this person doesn't know anything about money, or somebody else may think, this person is trying to hoard all the money. But remember that you're in this together. And I think it leads me to our next point, that you have to know what your goals are. And when I say your goals, I mean common goals. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you guys trying to accomplish with your finances? What are you trying to accomplish with your income? Because it could be that, person A wants to go on trips, whereas person B is like, I want us to be able to retire and be comfortable.
Right.
So now you got to put that together. You got to make those things join together. You got to make them combine them so that it makes sense for your relationship. So those are some of the things. So knowing your goals, when you don't have goals, and when you don't voice your goals, because I think what we do before we voice our goals or what we're trying to do with the finances, we get offended. You see what I'm saying? So you get offended first, the other person still doesn't know what your goals are, and now you're just fighting about money.
So let me talk from my perspective. So I like the idea of enjoying what I worked for. Mm-hmm. as I hope we all do, but I want to enjoy. Let me say that. I want to enjoy what I worked for sooner than Kareem does. How about that? So I'm over here like, let's do this, let's do that, and he's like, eventually, but let's save so that when we can retire early or do bigger, better things later. So I just didn't understand why we had to put so much in savings or even budget. Like, why can't I just do this? And now, or what I've learned, or what we've learned is, okay, I like to spend money on food. I understand that it goes in your mouth and comes out, and you don't even really get to savor it for that long. It doesn't last that long. But for some reason, me, Gabby, loves food. So I'm like, well,
the way to a woman's heart, in this case,
honey, take me out to a nice restaurant. So what we've done, all right, let me say this. So before, Kareem was really like, he is really strict and rigid, so he wasn't really giving me no room. But over time, right, you gotta negotiate. Over time, what we did was increase how much money I spent on food.
we can laugh now. You hear yourself.
Increase how much we spent on, how much I spent on food, and also how much we spent on food.
That's funny.
But find other ways to save to make sure that we are doing that too. So even though it may seem that our goals were clashing and contradictory, but we made way for both of us. We both appeal to our idiosyncrasies so that we don't feel left out or feel like we've been we're not thought of and regarded.
Mm-hmm. That your opinion matters.
I am seen, heard, loved, all the things. So yeah, that is all from me. Go ahead, man.
So yeah, in going along that same vein, with you having different goals. So you newlyweds, you're married. Excuse me. You don't want finances to get in the way, but I, Kareem, have come into this now with my own experience with money, my own history with money, my own idea of what I want to do with finances and income.
Right. And
Gabby has come into this now with her own idea of what money is, how it's to be spent, how it's not to be saved.
Listen,
no, I'm just playing.
Listen.
I'm just playing.
No. I'll address this. Money, this is Gabby's opinion. Money is meant to be spent one way or the other, in one lifetime or another. I mean, sure, it can grow, but eventually it's meant to be spent. You hear me?
Right. Yeah, I was just playing, but you see how serious she is about spending money. But yeah, we've come to that understanding now. But my point is, two people come together and they have different ideals for what they're going to do with their finances. So now when you sit down and have to hash this out, it's going to cause some tension.
Right. And
you have to not allow the money to be the issue. Because think about it, there are people out there who don't have money to argue about. Let's say that real quick. Let's be real about that.
Very true.
The fact that you both, in most cases, you both have jobs, Gabby's working, I'm working, we should be able to count that as a blessing.
Yeah.
And now don't let that blessing turn into a curse. So recognize that this is an individual person, this is an individual person. We don't have we have our own ideals about money and finances. Let's come together and see how we can mesh those together
and create our own culture.
Right. So yeah, that's different. So now I say all that to say this: if you do not take that step, yes, it's rough. We went through it for the first 2 years, first year or two.
We're still that's better, but we're still going.
I don't think so. I think the first 2 years were the roughest. To me, we've gotten way better.
Yeah.
That's just me. But anyway, I say all that to say, now, I was talking about voicing your opinions. before we got into this.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't voice what your goals are, don't assume the other person know, hey, you should know this is what we're supposed to be doing with our money.
Right.
You know, all right? So now when you voice it, you guys come together, the money is not going two different directions. Because what happens is you say, forget this person. They say, forget you. We just can't agree. You start doing your own thing with the finances. They start doing their own thing with the finances. And now your money is doing this instead of this. All right? Because when you come together and say, oh, I didn't know that's what you wanted to use that money for.
Mm-hmm,
or,
mm-hmm.
oh, I never thought about it that way, that we could use it for this or save it for that.
Right.
Or, oh, next year we can go on that big trip. I didn't know that's what. So
Right.
now your money does this and you guys do it together. It brings you together. Again, the fact that you have income, you don't want to allow that to be something to separate you. The fact that you guys have income, that should be bringing you together. Like, man, how can we pool this money together?
Right.
How can we join together and do bigger things? That should be the goal in voicing your goals and voicing your opinions for the income. So that avoids arguments. All right, that brings us to another point: arguments. So I kind of touched on it already. We kind of spoke a little bit, but that's what ends up happening. One person either is not being available to listen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, they're not being receptive.
Mm-hmm.
They're not being open. So now they get offended, and an argument is based off that. And you may think that the argument is about the money. A lot of times, that's the other thing. The argument is not even about the money. They're arguing because they're offended. Like, you're not even hearing me out.
Right.
I didn't even get to say what I want us to do. You know, I was trying to do this for you. You could have been planning to do something for the other person,
Right.
and they never knew
Right.
because everybody got offended. So that's how you can decrease the arguments. Control is another thing, which we kind of touched on a little bit. You know, the spender is going to feel as though the saver is trying to control the money, and vice versa. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The saver is going to feel like, man, this person wants all the control of the money, and if I give them control of the money, we're not going to have no money.
Right.
When really they don't want control. If you trust and love the person, and you know them, you know that they don't want control of the money. They just want to make sure that it's being spent wisely, or being saved wisely, or being used to the best of its ability, efficiently, so that both parties
Mm-hmm.
are satisfied. You mentioned something. How do you think for us we made sure that both sides were heard, or the money was spent in ways that we compromise for each other, we're there for each other? What do you think?
Yeah, like I said earlier about like increasing how much money spent on food,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that we have savings in different accounts as far as like investment saving, emergency fund saving, family saving, other stuff. So making sure that we're set. I had to do some internal work and realize that you're good-willed and you're not really trying to take control, because I think that's what I was thinking. It's like, oh, this is only gonna go his way and that's it. But I had to make sure to voice what I wanted, or figure out what I wanted, and then voice it.
She was just hungry.
That's what it was during the budget meeting. I was so hungry.
Mercy.
That was a good one, actually. So yeah, doing internal work, saying, all right, you know, what he's thinking about is for our good, not just for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to break that down, and be able and respect your side as well, and saying this is what he wants, and again, it's for good. It's not for bad. It's not for evil. It's not for taking over control or authority and leaving me out to deal with things myself. So yeah, some internal work, and then compromising on the budget.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because it could be, and that's a whole pride thing for us. You know, it's a pride thing for guys, and maybe for some ladies as well. It's a pride thing.
Me.
But no, because guys are known for their egos. I'm just being honest. That guys may have that issue where you have to realize, is there some research that I need to do about finances? Is there some self-examination I need to do about what I know, what I don't know about finances?
Right.
You know, do I need to take a closer look at how a budget can benefit us? These are questions. If you're real about and this is why I said it's not solely about the money.
Mm-hmm.
If you're real about your relationship with that person and where you guys want to go together, you'll actually think yourself these questions, because ultimately the income is going to affect both of you, you know, and what you do with it is going to affect both of you. So I'm glad you brought it, because that's a very, very good point. Self-reflection. What do I know about money? What don't I know about money? What can we learn about money together? Which I think is another step that we did. We took it upon ourselves to say, hey, let's do some research together about finances. Or if I find something, I share it with Gabby, and if she found something that was helpful, she shared it with me. And the information is out there, guys. You got, you know, social media, you got YouTube. A lot of free stuff is out there, free information where you can learn about finances. Another point you brought up that I wanted to touch on was respect. It is very important that when you sit down and discuss finances, not just, sometimes we make the mistake of thinking it only counts with big purchases or spending a lot of money. But even when it comes down to the little things, when you take the time to hear each other out, it tells the other person, I value your opinion, I respect you, and we're in this together. But when you just go off and, you know, spend money on your own, make big purchases without even mentioning it or discussing it with your spouse.
Or even shutting down during budget meeting. Just say whatever you want.
Yeah, that really doesn't help. Now, it's okay if that happens.
Right.
Let me say that.
Yeah.
You may shut down, you may say whatever, as long as you come back to the table. Because that's naturally, again, we're talking about our own unique marriage and our experience of what happened. And it may happen for you similarly, it may happen a little differently, but ultimately, this conversation will spark something that will help you. It's okay, like I was using that example, it's okay if you shut down. Don't give up just because, one meeting or one conversation they shut down. So I'm not going to even bring that up again. That is a big no-no. Yes, you're going to have times where you get angry at each other about money. Like we said earlier, you're going to have arguments, you're going to disagree, you're going to have different goals. As long as, you go cool down, but guess what? Next month, you need to have that budget meeting again. Which I failed to mention. We were saying when we first got married, we were doing it like once every 6 months. Now we're at the point where we are now in our marriage, we have budget meeting every month because it helps us. Things are broken down monthly. Most of your bills are monthly bills. You can calculate your monthly income. So it just makes sense for us now every month. Because it's funny, we've noticed how things can change month to month. You'll have a good budget meeting. And you'll be like, all right, next month, we're going to arrange our money this way. We're going to spend on this. And by next month, you go have another budget meeting. You'll be like, it's a good thing we had a budget meeting today because...
what was going on?
That shifted. That wasn't according to plan at all.
Yeah.
But again, people don't realize, a lot of people want to say, I have the budget in my head, or I know how much money we make, we got it. It's a mental thing for us. Listen, things change with your money all the time, you don't even realize. So there were times we were so happy that we had the budget meeting. We was like, man, otherwise we would have missed that. We would have been asking ourselves, where did that money go? Or man, we forgot to plan for XYZ that was coming up.
Right.
So having a budget meeting, having it on written paper, I'll say that again, having a budget meeting and having your budget written down on paper is a must. If you're going to succeed as a couple, let me put it this way, for you to be at your optimal level, for you to do the most that you can do as a couple, it has to be written down. Because ultimately, any successful business, they're not just gonna say, "Oh, I got my budget in my head. I know what we spend on paper. I know what we spend on computer maintenance. It's all in my head." That business is gonna fail. And the same thing with your marriage. You have to have it on written paper for you guys' budget, for you to do the best that you can do together. Anything you want to close with?
That was great.
I appreciate you.
Yep. So I find that with budgeting and finances, it is a lot of internal work that needs to be done. And again, I guess in marriage too, like it's a lot of internal work in order to like become one. Stuff that you have to work on, as far as I guess knowing your own goals, knowing what you want, knowing what you're looking forward to. And then being able to express that and being able to allow the other person to express that. And then what am I willing to sacrifice on? What is a no-brainer? Like we're not going to, this can't be sacrificed. And same thing for the other person. And just like trying to make it work, honey. But it takes years.
It's a process.
Yep, but it's definitely worth it.
Yep,
it's definitely worth it. Yep. So, and you were right about not giving up on that first budget meeting, that second budget meeting, even that 10th budget meeting where you guys had a big argument and you felt like, whatever, let this other person do what they want, or I'm going to do what I want. It's like, keep going and keep going through that, keep going through those hard times, going through those feelings, and then eventually coming to the realization that you're both good-willed people wanting the best for each other and for the marriage and for the family. Yeah. So, it's a great episode.
Yeah, man. We really enjoy bringing this for you guys. Leave your comments, your questions, your opinions on, what are the topics on finances you guys want to hear about. We love this stuff. I'm K.A. Will.
And I'm Gabby.
Not the other way around. We see you guys next time on Marriage Journey. Thanks, guys.